Last-minute shakeup at 5:30 a.m., laundry situation not good. And when your focus is on helping your clients, it's easy to forget about yourself. But NASM knows trainers.
Morning ride is okay.
And staying in front of the day isn't always as simple as 1, 2, 3. So when the unexpected has you pressing pause,
what's the latest on creatine?
I'm going to get back to you on that.
let NASM1 help you press play. Visit NASM.org to sign up for a membership today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strong Mind, Strong Body. I'm your host, Angie Miller. Today, we are going to talk about a powerful topic that I think affects all of us. So the title of this show is Shift Happens, How to Navigate or Navigating Life Transitions. I feel like no matter how much we lay out these plans and we have this idea of how we want things to go or how we think things should go, things just happen and life plays out in unexpected ways. And the key isn't that we can control all the change. The key is that we have to be able to adapt to the change. And I think therein lies the problem, is that we try to control all the outlying factors when in fact it's really about adapting to change. So today I have Nari Kaur on my show, and Nari is a personal development and empowerment coach, and she is a perfect person to speak to life transitions because, like me and like all of you, Nari has experienced many personal and professional transformations in her life and many different opportunities to kind of shift the plot a little bit different from the way that she thought it would go. So we're going to talk about managing transition, the anxiety that sometimes kicks in when we're in the midst of it, and how to find areas where you do have an element of control when it feels like life is out of control. So I'm going to bring Nari in and just have her say a quick hello, and then we're going to deep dive right into the episode. How you doing, Nari?
Hey, everyone. Hi, Angie. Nice to see you again. Pleasure to be here.
It's great to see you. And tell us all again where you're coming from. Where are you recording from today?
Yeah, I'm actually in the UAE currently. This is where I'm currently residing. Originally, I'm from the United Kingdom, and I've been in the UAE for nearly 6 months now. So, experiencing a completely different lifestyle to one that I've been used to.
Oh, I'm sure of it. I'm sure. And just before the show started, Nari was saying that the weather is much nicer there. So my goal is to go visit her someday. So Nari, I want to deep dive right away. So many people resist change. I think that's a fact. I think that even when we think we don't resist change, there's a part of it that part of us that resists it because it's what we don't know. And so, but you work with clients and you help your clients learn to embrace change. So what do you think is that critical mindset shift that separates those who thrive during transitions from those who tend to just get stuck like they're stuck in quicksand?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So change, as we know it, is a natural part of life, whether it's having a new job, moving to a new country, as I have, even changing your daily routine. But actually change is a part of, like I said, natural part of life. And it's also in our evolutionary instinct, because to stay the same for a long period of time would actually cause an element of discomfort in our mind and our bodies. So really, we need to look at change in a positive light and embrace it rather than resist it, rather than fearing change, seeing it as an opportunity for growth and new experiences. And it requires, the reason so many people resist it is because it requires us to step outside of our comfort zones, a comfort zone that most people are so aligned to, so used to, and so comfortable in. So even to the point that they are uncomfortably comfortable. So change is really something that we need to embrace because it leads to personal growth. It adds to our resilience and a deeper appreciation for life's unpredictability. And essentially, the mindset that we need to embrace change in a positive light is a growth mindset. A person with a growth mindset, really, regardless of little setbacks and stumbling blocks, sees change as an opportunity to grow, to change in a positive way, and it sees life. It sees those little moments of change, or even roadblocks, as an aha moment rather than an oops moment, as we
Yeah.
say. So it's really the perspective that we have that helps us to adopt and live in change in a positive light, as opposed to resisting it and staying stuck, as we say.
Yeah, well, and I think you gave a lot of information in there, and I appreciated all of that, because one of the things that I heard in the beginning was you said that there's a discomfort and not getting comfortable with change. And I agree. I almost think the word that came to my mind personally was like apathy. I feel like we almost get so comfortable that it becomes almost apathetic. Like we're in this kind of daily humdrum of, Groundhog Day, and every day looks, smells, and feels the same. But the two things that I really heard you say, Nari, that I think are important to think about is you talk about change being about growth and resilience, and that, in a nutshell, what encapsulates it is this whole idea of a growth mindset. And I think that a growth mindset is huge because, and I've done an entire episode on growth mindset, because that does lead us to adapt to positive change. So, Nari, my other thought to you is we often will hear people say, trust the process, right? Like, I feel like I've heard that my whole life. Angie, just trust the
Yeah.
process. And people throw it out there and it starts to kind of feel like a platitude. Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Trust the process. Yes, but what does that actually look like, especially when so many things feel uncertain? Can you give us just a couple of tangibles on what that would be to trust the process?
Trust the process is essentially about not necessarily looking at the destination, but actually appreciating the journey, being in the moment, being patient with ourselves, and really separating what we think that life should look like. In terms of maybe a template or some expectations that we have inherited, or the way that we think and the way that we believe that life should be, in comparison to actually how life is turning out. So trusting the process is really, it requires quite a lot of intuition. It requires us to really connect deeply with ourselves, and really appreciate day by day the way that life is actually unfolding for us, and not be too attached to the anxiety of things not turning out the way we had expected or had hoped, because people can really get attached to certain things that they want by a certain age, or certain accomplishments and achievements that they want. And if things don't turn out that way, people can really be put off. They can feel like a failure, they can give up. But all of these things really can take them off the path of growing and developing into their best selves. And this is where resilience really comes into the picture, of bouncing back from those setbacks, bouncing back from things not turning out the way you had expected, and actually still appreciating the journey, still looking for opportunities for growth. Again, includes having the growth mindset, whereby you keep on seeing challenges as opportunities for growth, as opposed to stopping, standing still, and being defeated by not having what you wanted when you wanted it, and even reframing the experience as to, why did I think that was the perfect life, and actually what have I gained that I may not have gained if things turned out the way I had expected, and the fact that they're different to that.
Yeah. And, I think that there's a lot that you said that could be unpacked in there. And one of the things that really came to my mind that really stood out to me, because I hear it a lot from my clients, is this expectation that things should be a certain way. And a lot of times I think we do that to ourselves because society says that when you're growing up, you'll go to school. Then when you're 18 to 21, you'll go to college. Then when you're 21 to X, you're going to get married and make babies, and you're going to do all these things. And we hear these shoulds, and then we start to put parameters around what our life should look like according to what society says is best for everyone. But is that best for everyone? And I think one of the things that Nari said that I really want to unpack here is that maybe reframing and asking yourself, what gave you that belief system that this is the best way? And what if it's not? And what could you learn about yourself by the fact that you took a different route, or by the fact that life didn't go the way that you thought it, quote, should go? But I think, Nori, I also heard you talk about patience and being in the moment. And I think what that really, too, what the word that came to my mind was self-belief. You have to have self-belief that even though things didn't go any way the way you expected them to, you're going to find your way out of it. And so I think a lot of times self-belief comes from the big C word, which is confidence. And sometimes we have to go get help with that from a confidence coach or a therapist to say, hey, it's okay that things didn't go the way you expected. In fact, it might even be better because look at you now. And I think if we can step outside of that, we can really see that, right? We can see ourselves through that unique lens.
Yeah, and really stepping outside, like something powerful that you said, stepping outside of societal expectations of what other people expect of you, being confident enough to stand outside the crowd, being unique and individual, and not comparing your life, your life or your timeline against what other people are doing. And even if other people project that onto you, not taking that personally. So still having the confidence to be yourself and living by your own values and looking at the bigger picture in terms of what your purpose is. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And just having the confidence, like you said, in your own life and your own journey.
Yeah. It's so true. The confidence and just those constant checkbacks to who are you and what do you want? What if all the rest is noise? Because what if no one else is the best determiner of your life outside of you? And so what if you could cut out that noise and say, yes, this was what I thought I heard people say, and yet this is what's proving to be best for me. So Nari, I'm just curious because you work with people in this situation and navigating change, and you've moved, I've started all over, I've moved all throughout the country multiple times. And so what's the most counterintuitive advice that you've given to clients who are facing major life transitions that for whatever reason, as counterintuitive as it seems, it proves to be very valuable for people? Do you have something you can kind of put your finger on?
Yeah, really what comes to mind there is you don't know what you don't know. So really when change is like forthcoming, when you have an opportunity to do something different, to step out of that, essentially that comfort zone that we talk about, right? It's really an opportunity to do different things, be in a different environment, to see it as flexibility for growth, to meet new people. You don't know where you're going to be, the people that you're going to meet, the experiences that you're going to have. So why would you close yourself off to that? Like the reason we resist that change in the first instance is, oh, everything's going to go wrong, or these are all the things that I'm going to lose if I take this change, and I won't have this anymore, things that we are attached to. But actually you don't know what is on the other side of that change, right? And this is also you can get this advice, like you said, from a confidence therapist, even from having people who have made those changes that you are thinking of making themselves, and also seeking advice from people older than you. This has been very, very useful to me in my personal life, because they can give you practical advice and examples that can help you to make transitions for change easier. So because you don't know what's on the other side, so I'll repeat, you don't know what you don't know. So unless you don't take that opportunity or don't take that leap, you will never know. And then it could essentially become a regret rather than something that you did that worked out and turned out amazing, or something that you did proved not to be the right thing for you, but at least you did it, and you can go back or readjust. Life is a constant navigation, and that's what we're doing. We're just navigating, and these experiences teach us what we need to do next. So if we don't allow ourselves to have the experiences in the first place, then we remove the opportunity for growth from our own paths.
Yeah. Well, and I think that to your point, I heard you say you don't know what you don't know. What goes along with that is that we are so focused on what we're going to lose. I won't have this, I won't have that. Often it's material in nature, sometimes it's not. It could be friendships that we'll lose, it could be all the things. And yet, to me, it's not what you're going to lose, it's what's possible. And it is hard. It's hard to train the anxious brain to say, yes, you will lose those things, and what will be possible in the process of losing those things, because it's like clearing the whiteboard. And when you clear it, it's an opportunity to fill it again with new experiences and friends and so forth. So, Nari, before we move on, I want to reintroduce you. My name is Angie Miller. This is Strong Mind, Strong Body, and my guest is Nari Kaur. She is a personal development and empowerment coach, and Nari and I are talking about shift happening, right? These life transitions and how we navigate them, because change is just a constant, but it is extremely unsettling for all of us. So, Nari, there's often, people have or put these expectations on us to, quote, bounce back right away. Or maybe we put it on ourselves. I think a lot of times we perceive that society has these expectations, but really what it is projection. Because really we're putting it on ourselves. Like, how come I'm not over this yet? Or how come the grief's not done? Or how come I'm still crying over this? So we have these expectations that we should bounce back right away. But how do you help people find that balance, that nuance between moving forward, but also giving themselves grace? I'm not saying get stuck in a pity party, but what about just some personal grace?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really all about resilience, our personal resilience, which is what bouncing back essentially means, especially in times of stress. We're all going to have stress at some points in our life, sometimes greater than others, but it's really our ability then to really become like back in tune with ourselves, to remember who we are, to remember our journey so far, to remember our accomplishments, and all the positive things that we've done in our lives. So really, we are acknowledging ourselves in this moment. So while we're doing this, we need to be honest with ourselves. So we need to recognize what our signs of stress are. How is our body reacting, and how are we changing maybe in our behaviors? We need to work on building mental and physical resilience, right? So we need to work on our bodies, and I know that you do a lot of work, Angie, on this in terms of building physical fitness, because that totally aligns with building mental fitness. Those two things come together. But in terms of embracing ourselves, another really important thing, like mindfulness. So we need to strengthen that relaxation response, which is learning to calm our body and calm our mind. So there's so many different activities that we can do for mindfulness, like breathing techniques, yoga, being out in nature, doing something that we enjoy that brings us peace, like reading or painting or anything where we can be creative with ourselves, and really learning to identify using our strengths in moments of stress. Also focusing on the fact, so overthinking is a massive thing which takes people down a path, down a tangent, which really is unnecessary. So focusing on the facts, reframing the experience, like I said, what am I getting that's positive out of this experience, and giving yourself time. As well as that, I would say that doing things that you enjoy. So what are your hobbies? What activities can you do that are new, that can really be character building? Exercising is huge. Some people are so they don't want to exercise, or they don't enjoy it. But if you like embrace a challenge, for example, that involves exercising, then it gets you motivated to really lead up to that challenge. These are things that I use myself, and these are the things that I really help my clients to do as well. So really strengthening that resilience muscle, but not being too hard on yourself. So really, yes, doing things that are different, but totally acknowledging yourself, being at peace with yourself, giving yourself love and self-care. All of that together helps you in that case.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that, to your point about strengthening the resilience muscle, I think it is too about checking in with your strengths and just kind of in the midst
Mm.
of chaos. A lot of times I actually have to personally do this. In the midst of chaos, I actually will often journal about the things in my life where I've had good accomplishments or I've had positive feedback or things that have gone really, really well for me. It's like a self check of, come on, man, like you're not completely losing it or life's not completely falling apart. It's like
Yeah.
regrounding myself and saying, I think you're building this bigger than it is and you're letting your mind take over. But I think that the overthinking is kind of the nemesis of many of us. I know for me it is. And Nari, one thing that came to my mind is I am soon to turn into a new decade. And this at about 3 in the morning, I woke up and could not get back to sleep. And my mind started to spin on what am I going to do that is so out of my comfort zone? What am I going to do to build more self belief? What am I going to do to just like take myself to a place I've never been? So I booked a skydiving package for my
Wow.
birthday and have
That's
never been
amazing.
skydiving. But I was like, well, that's going to be a birthday to remember. So, but it's that way
Yeah.
of building my confidence, my self belief, and all the things that matter the most. So, Nari, I appreciate you saying that. You just reinforced that me doing my skydiving was a good thing because I'm going to build my resilience muscle. And I'm going to
You are.
remind myself that the
Yeah.
next time when life gets kind of ugly, I'll go, yes, and I went skydiving on my birthday.
Yeah.
So,
All of these things become your reference points. So it's absolutely essential that you build these new experiences into your life. And you, like you said, journal them, have evidence of them, because that's when you get into those low points or those stressful moments, that's when you remember all the things that you've done, all the achievements that you've accomplished. So that helps you to remember actually who you are and to recover that confidence that truly makes you who you are.
and I love that about the journaling because I do that. And I will go back and reflect on these things. So, Nori, I have another question for you. You know, there's that idea of we kind of talked about like focus on what you can control. And that's one of the big things that I tell people all the time. When you can't control or it feels like there's nothing to control, what can you control? And so, for me, it became, well, I can't control that I'm turning into a new decade, but I can control how I bring in that birthday.
Yeah.
But one last question for you is for our listeners facing their now what moment, like, now what do I do? Like, chaos has just ensued. I'm working my way through it. Now what? What's one powerful question they could ask themselves? Just a simple question, because I think questions invite information.
Yeah, absolutely. The question really is, what do I gain from what's happening, as opposed to what am I losing, right? So really, it's about looking at things, like I said earlier, from that perspective, that what am I gonna gain, what is this experience going to give me? That really helps you to acknowledge the change. So looking at situations, looking at change optimistically, and if you can actually, you can even do a plus or minus. You can even put two scenarios in front of you and list down all the things that you're going to gain from going down this path, as opposed to what you're going to lose. And I guarantee you, in the majority of occasions, you will be gaining more if you only allow yourself to access that change. And like I said earlier, be at peace with being different, standing out from the crowd, remembering your personal power. And that lies in being different, not necessarily the same as everybody else. And fear of the unknown it's only if you think it's real. Is it real? But actually, if you look at it from the other side, there's so much to gain. Don't stress about stress. And lastly, analyze your values and what is your purpose. Always look at the bigger picture. So people get stuck in the little detail, in the little setbacks, the challenges, but actually they don't look at the bigger picture. I need to combat these challenges. I need to combat these setbacks to get to my bigger picture, to get to my bigger goal, right? So always look at what am I going to gain? And those baby steps that we take on a day-to-day basis, if you are consistent with that, eventually you will be able to achieve whatever goal that is, no matter how big it is, that you want for yourself. Again, it all comes down to uniqueness, individuality, self-confidence, self-esteem, self-belief, believing it and valuing yourself as an individual compared to being part of a crowd or a unit.
All right.
So really,
Well,
what am I going to gain?
yeah, I like that a lot. So the question really is, what do I gain from what happened? What do I
Yes,
gain? It's about making a list of all the positive things that can happen from this transition. And to Nari's point, you're probably going to come up with more positive than negative. And at the end of the day, it goes back to that personal power of I made, this happen. I am making the choice to see the positive because life is all about choices. So no, you can't always determine the trajectory of your life, but you can choose whether you're going to lean into the positive, take your power back and say, I didn't make this choice, but doggone it, I'm going to choose how I respond to it. So Nari, we're going to close up the show, but before we do, could you just quickly tell them your email or just a quick way that they can get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you for services?
absolutely. Yeah. So if anybody's interested, you can contact me on Instagram. My page is Nari Kaur, Skyhigh Coaching. You can also access me through my website, which is narikaur.com. And my email, again, narikaur.uk@gmail.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Nori. You're just a wealth of information. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate that you just went through a major life transition, a major move, so you can definitely attest to what that feels like. So thanks to all of you out there listening to Strong Mind, Strong Body. I really appreciate you joining us. I hope that whatever transition you're going through, this shed a little light and a little joy. We'll see you next time.